Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Here we bring to you 7 o'clock news bulletin. First, the headlines. The Sultanate stresses in New York that the human rights are maintained through laws and legislations enacted by the government. The U.S. State Department stresses on the Sultanate's role in security and stability of the region. And the indirect impacts of the depression care continue over the governorate of Dhofar as the tropical storm Maha continues to move towards the Central Arabian Sea. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sends a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Charles Angelo Savarin of the Commonwealth of Dominica on his country's independence anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan has also sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Laurentino Cortizo of Panama on his country's National Day. In New York, at the United Nations General Assembly, the Sultanate stressed that the human rights are preserved through laws and legislations enacted by the government to protect individuals and the society. The main system of the state guarantees the human rights of all segments of the Omani society. This came during the Sultanate's speech delivered by His Highness Sayyid Taimur bin Fatih Al Said before the Social, Humanitarian and Cultural Committee of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. His Highness clarified that the Sultanate joined a number of agreements concerned with protecting human and labor rights that are issued by the International Labour Organization. He also pointed out that continuous efforts are being exerted by the government to develop the system of social protection for all segments of the community. His Highness added that the Sultanate gives great attention towards women and that reflects on using their rights of candidacy in elections of the Shura Council and the municipal councils. The American Foreign Ministry stressed on the role of the Sultanate in terms of security and stability in the Middle East region. In its annual report of the year 2018 regarding worldwide efforts to combat terrorism, it valued the efforts of the Sultanate in this field on both the regional and international levels. This also reflects the security and stability witnessed by the Sultanate under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos. The Shura Council will hold tomorrow an extraordinary session to elect the chairman and his 2 deputies for the 9th term. The session comes enacting the articles of the main system of the state, where the election will be conducted accordingly. The 9th term of the council witnessed an expansion in the number of members, where in the Wilaya of Liwa, 1 member increased to arrive to 86 members, among which there are 2 women were elected. The new elected members are 55, while 31 members were re-elected. The election of the Shura Council chairman and his 2 deputies will be broadcasted through Oman Live channel and the radio channels. The National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center analysis indicates that deep depression care weakened into depression with an estimated surface wind speed ranges between 17 and 27 knots. The indirect impacts of the depression will continue in the upcoming 24 hours on the governorate of Dhofar, with scattered rainfall and gusty winds. Seas will be rough along the coast of the governorate of Dhofar, with a maximum wave height of 3 meters. The center analysis indicates that the tropical storm Maha is over the east-central parts of the Arabian Sea, with an estimated surface wind speed around the center between 34 and 63 knots, continues to move northwest or north-northwest towards the Central Arabian Sea. The Maha is about 1,200 kilometers away from the Sultanate coast, as the associated clouds are about 900 kilometers away. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation advises the public to follow latest official weather bulletins and reports. International news. Israel carried out retaliatory strikes on Gaza today, killing one Palestinian and seriously wounding two, following 2 nights of rocket attacks that were the first since September. The strikes targeted a wide range of Hamas targets, including a naval base, a military compound, and a weapons manufacturing plant. Witnesses said that the sound of explosions was heard across the tiny but densely populated territory after daybreak. Curious onlookers gathered around a large crater scooped out of the sandy soil by the force of the blast. Al-Hamas sources said it had fired at the Israeli aircraft carrying out the raids, and the Israeli military confirmed fresh incoming fire. The Israeli military said the strikes came after at least 10 rockets were fired from Gaza at southern Israel late yesterday, causing damage but no casualties. It said 8 of the rockets were intercepted by air defenses. U.S. President Donald Trump said yesterday that the ceasefire in the northeastern Syria, where Turkey has sent in troops to clear the area of Syrian Kurdish militia forces, has held very nicely. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump also said he had a very good relationship with Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan. Trump added that Erdogan wants to come to the White House. Meanwhile, footage broadcast online purported to show U.S. patrols being deployed to oil wells in northeast Syria. It showed armored vehicles bearing U.S. flags stationed by oil wells in Al-Qataniya. On Thursday, U.S. armored vehicles were seen near the Syrian-Turkey border in a part of northeastern Syria where they had not been observed since early October, when Washington announced the withdrawal of American forces. Military sources from the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces described the movement as a patrol running between the towns of Rumaila and Qataniya, which is 20 kilometers to the west. Thousands of protesters were blocking all roads leading to Iraq's main Gulf port Qasr today after security forces used live rounds and tear gas on them overnight. Operations at the port have been at a complete standstill since Wednesday. After protesters first blocked its entrance on Tuesday, Qasr receives the vast bulk of Iraq's imports of grain, vegetable oils and sugar needed to feed a country heavily dependent on imported foods. Iraq's oil exports take place mostly from nearby offshore platforms, which have not been affected. Protesters today burned tires and set up concrete blocks, angered by the anti-riot forces' violent attempt to disperse them. At least 30 people were injured. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. 21 projects participate in the Sultanate's first Green Innovation Ecothon. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. In line with the Omani Embassy's efforts to cement the brotherly relations and cooperation aspects with Brunei in the cultural and other relevant fields, a corner of Omani publications was established in University of Technology Brunei under the name of Omani scholar Abu Muhammad Abdullah bin Muhammad Al-Azdi. also known as Ibn al-Dhahabi, in recognition of his vast contribution. Ibn al-Dhahabi corner contains over 180 publications in various subjects and fields relating to the Sultanate of Oman. The Omani embassy aims at providing 500 publications in various scientific specialties offered by the university. It's worth mentioning that the embassy has established over the past year 3 similar corners of Omani publications in government universities in Dar es Salaam. On the sideline of the launching Ibn al-Dhahabi corner, a cultural exhibition containing a collection of photos on tourist destinations and highlights on Omani heritage was held. 21 projects have participated in the Sultanate's first green-friendly hackathon under the title Green Innovation Ecothon. The initiative was launched by Nama Group to encourage scientific solutions that minimize impact of industry on environment using fourth industrial revolution technologies. The 3-day event attracted 105 students who have gathered to propose digital solutions to environmental challenges like renewable energy and waste management. 9 projects have now successfully advanced to the final showdown. Ministry of Education, in cooperation with Rural Areas Electricity Company Tanweer, held the concluding ceremony for Tanweer Award for Excellence 2019 in the Governorate of Musandam. The award aimed at encouraging schools, including students and teachers, to use electricity responsibly and moderately. It also aimed at promoting awareness among students on the harmful effect of carbon emission and spreading a culture of creativity and innovation in the field of energy. Students interacted positively with the exhibition that included a demonstration on green-friendly projects that really on the use of renewable energy to minimize impact on environment. Governorate of Boremi celebrated Tree Day, which is celebrated internationally on October 31st. The celebration included a participation from students, followed by a paper on performance indicators in agricultural sector, sustainable development and food security. The celebration was accompanied by an exhibition on farm producers and honey. The exhibition dedicated a corner for handicrafts made women from rural areas. The celebration was held under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Saeed bin Khamis Al-Ka'bi, Chairman of Public Authority for Consumer Protection. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate stresses in New York that the human rights are maintained through laws and legislations enacted by the government. The U.S. State Department stresses on the Sultanate's role in security and stability of the region. And the indirect impacts of the Depression Car continue over the Governorate of Dhofar as the tropical storm Maha continues to move towards the Central Arabian Sea. With that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening and good night.